I want to be independent. I don't need a man.
A few moments later.
I just found out today that my ex-husband is engaged and I'm unwell. Divorce is really hard.
And I was just like kind of stunned. I knew that I was ready to leave, but I couldn't believe that that was his reaction. There was no empathy. There was no compassion. There was no like wanting to fight for us.
I cannot wait. I'm so impressed and proud of myself that I have been able to get through this divorce.
Many months later.
Tomorrow's Christmas and I'm just crying because of how hard it's been not having my husband. I remember when we bought those sofas, or when we installed those light fixtures. I remember the painting that was right above them, like the stuff in the background.
Within that 24 hours, he had opened up the filing folder of his single man life and went ahead and got all this done.
Today we're going to be looking at women that divorce their husbands and instantly regret it. In case you were wondering, I am married and I've been with my husband for 20 years. So I'd like to think that I know at least a little bit about staying married.
Tomorrow is officially one of the biggest and most important days of my entire life. Tomorrow is my divorce day, and it's been a lot, to say the least. This moment I have equally dreaded and looked forward to, and the fact that it is now coming to an end officially tomorrow is mind-blowing alone. To be 25 years old and doing something of this caliber is huge. I am the youngest out of my friends to be married, and now I'm the youngest out of my friends to be divorced. So I'm going to hold that with a lot of pride.
Many months later.
Tomorrow's Christmas and I'm just crying because of how hard it's been. I feel like I'm trying to prove to myself I can be strong. It's really like painful dealing with the loss of everything. Not having my husband.
You had a husband, you left him, now you want everyone to feel sorry for you. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
A lot of you guys have been asking me.
Nobody's been asking you.
Oh.
I want to be independent. I don't need a man. I can do this all on my own.
A few moments later.
I just found out today that my ex-husband is engaged and I'm unwell. And like, even though, yes, it was me that was like, hi, I want divorce. I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. It brings up all these feelings. It brings up all this like stuff. And we have a kid and it brings up all this stuff around him.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
When I decided that I was going to tell him that I wanted a divorce, I texted my therapist, our marriage counselor, and I was like, I need to tell him that I want a divorce, but I want to do it in a session so that there's like a mediator present. Got us in like ASAP, like 2 days later. And I walked in knowing that I was going to ask for a divorce. We sit down in our session. It's like really tense, really awkward. My ex was sitting there like, so why do we have an emergency session? Therapist was like, Jamie, do you want to start? And I just started crying and I was like, I want a divorce. You know, it's hard for me to like say the words. I'm done. I want a divorce. He sat there quiet. I'm sitting next to him crying. He didn't move. He didn't look at me. He didn't react at all. He just was stone cold. And eventually our therapist was like, would you like to respond? He responded right away. And he's like, fine, let's just go ahead and finalize the details. And that was that. I looked at my therapist and I was just like kind of stunned. I knew that I was ready to leave, but I couldn't believe that that was his reaction. There was no empathy. There was no compassion. There was no like wanting to fight for us. I didn't think that there would be, but you know, you just always hope that like one last try. We went home that night. We didn't speak. He slept on the couch. I woke up and went to work the next day, came home. He was playing PlayStation that night. I sat next to him. We hadn't talked in 24 hours. I said, can we talk about what happened yesterday? He was just playing, just looking straight ahead. And he's like, what's to talk about? In my mind, I'm thinking, this is our last ditch effort to like steer this ship around, you know? And I was like, so what are we going to do? And he just kept playing. And he was like, I already got an apartment. I already took my name off of the lease. He had done things within that 24 hours. He had opened up the filing folder of his single man life and went ahead and got all this done.
I don't know why this crazy woman thinks I'm leaving you means I want to work on our relationship. Divorce is final. It's not something that you threaten people with. It's not even a word that you say unless you actually mean it. Clearly, she didn't mean it. But when you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
Sorry, could you repeat that? The entire time, even while you were married to your
Yeah, I was
husband?
always in love with him. But you can be in love with someone and it not be
on.
healthy and not want to be with them.
Hold on. I'm sorry.
No, I don't
Hold
think
on.
you can.
I think you can.
I think that anybody who would marry anybody who was in love with somebody else is.
Well, I don't think I
there's a
necessarily
problem.
always knew that I was
you didn't
still in
know?
love with him.
Wait, can we just not? Hold on. I'm sorry. I need you to repeat that one more time. So this guy who's your ex, who he paid thousands of dollars for your retrial lawyer, used to date him. While you were married to your husband, you were thinking of your ex.
Yeah, often.
Just about how much you love this guy.
Wait, and did
It
you
took
date?
me a while to figure out. Like,
Did you date
Were you
other
talking
guys?
to him while you were married?
yes, but my husband knew, but it wasn't often. It was just like ever so often. Throughout the years, here and there.
Red pill, massive red pill.
Not surprised she's divorced. Age 53, married in 1998, moved out in 2022, one son in college, renting a 2-bedroom in Westchester, amicable divorce.
Divorce is really hard. I thought I could talk about this. I didn't realize how raw it was. And I did not expect having a New York City office that I'm commuting into to stir up all of these feelings. I thought I was so past this. I moved out 2 years ago. I had a whole wall in our house of like family portraits. And not in like a corny, horrible way, like in a cool way. Like I had great pictures. And, you know, I only kept the ones of my son, right? And this is one of them. And it's, wait, let me give you a better version. My son, when he was 8, probably. And we were decorating for Christmas. And I remember how lonely I would feel every Christmas. But then I look at this picture. I'm like, oh, that was our mirror. And I remember when we bought it. I remember when we bought those sofas. Or when we installed those light fixtures. I remember the painting that was right above them. Like the stuff in the background. You put together a life with someone, right? And you think you're going to be with them forever. And that's your plan. And you go into it fully, earnestly, thinking you're going to be with them forever. And then you're not. I took that of my son on a vacation. I think I was still trying, but unhappy, but trying. It's sad. No one gets married thinking they're going to get divorced.
And that statement right there is not true. There are people who go into marriage thinking that they are going to get divorced. There are ones who almost kind of plan on getting a divorce. Shocking, but I've heard these words come out of the mouths of some of my liberal friends. But this doesn't even have to be a thing that's necessarily a liberal thing, but it's an attitude thing. I have other friends who are in decades-long marriages like myself, and I've talked with these women, and some of them have this attitude of, well, as long as I'm happy, we'll be together. And I look at them and I say, you know, you're going to go through ups and downs, and sometimes you have bad years. It reminds me of when Judge Judy got married a second time. She said, for better or forget it, instead of for better or for worse. And that's the attitude that's going to get you divorced, because it's not always going to be for better. Divorce is not a thing in my mind. That is not a possibility. Being married and staying married is an active choice, and you make it every single day. I've also heard that marriage is like a freeway and there's plenty of exits. And you could take an exit at any time, or you could just keep on going. And those bad years back to back, they had to do with me almost dying from Graves' disease, and then also multiple miscarriages. Those are really hard things that people go through. Infertility and autoimmune disorders and all kinds of different illnesses are things that people end marriages over all the time. And I even offered my husband a way out, because I said, you know, I'm stopping you from having your legacy, even though it's not anything that I'm consciously doing. You know, I'm the one with the fertility issues. And I said, hey, you can go. And thank God he didn't want to leave. He's a stand-up guy. He's just like, hey, I signed up to be with you for life. We're in it for life. So we are in it for life, you know, through the good, through the bad. And if you have that attitude that you guys are staying together, then you stay together. And it doesn't mean that every moment is a fairy tale, but most of it is, for me anyway. But you've also got to work at it. Maybe I don't have to work at it so much because I'm a hopeless romantic and I'm an eternal optimist. And I'm just like, oh, I'm so in love and I'm always going to be in love. And I just love love.
What is it, half of all marriages? Or like how many marriages actually end in divorce? Like so many, right? So it's almost like rare that you want to be with someone forever. So if you have that, like, oh, it's so awesome. If you don't have it and you're fighting for it, and then you just can't get there, and then it ends, and then it just feels so awful. I'm like, I'm the one who ended it. This was my choice. I have this, I'm in my apartment. This is all my stuff. This is my choice. You don't expect it to hurt 2 years later.
This pretty much sums it up. This guy's on a bicycle and sticks something into the wheel so that it falls over and he hurts his knee, he cries. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Red Dawn Daily with your hosts, me, Dawn Marie, and sometimes Leroy. Oh, Leroy, it's like I Dream of Jeannie or something. You look so good. You look so good. I don't know. What do you guys think? You think that there should be a permanent look for Leroy? I think we should always have the same hairstyle.